So, Simon, how was your experience here in our training scheme for family physicians?
I'll start in Portuguese a bit, just to show that I learned Portuguese here. Meu nome é Simon e eu sou estudante de medicina em Canadá, de Montreal. Então, foi a minha primeira vez no Rio de Janeiro para fazer estágio de medicina de família de 3 semanas. E foi pouco mais fácil de aprender português porque falo francês e espanhol. Now I'll go back to English. So I'm a medical student from Canada, and it was my first time here. I wanted to see how the health system was. I wanted to work in favelas. I wanted to see a bit more impoverished neighborhoods or impoverished people that we don't have necessarily in Canada, or that we have that are in the periphery of cities rather than central to the city in the hills.
Like here.
Like here, exactly. I found that the residents especially really had a vocation here, like a willingness to improve their community. Family medicine is not as well known here as it is in Canada. Like I was told that just 0.5% of doctors are family physicians, but in my country it's about 50%. So the population still doesn't really know or have expectations as to what a primary care physician does. But I feel like the tide is turning. There's starting to be a lot of a change where now people have a primary care physician, they go to him or her for referrals, then they go to specialists, but then they'll actually come back to their family doctor to interpret the results, to say what we're going to do next, to coordinate a bit more people who need some social help. I found some residents too, I went to some workshops, so there was curriculum development workshops and also workshops organized by the residents. For example, one was to help kids from a favela who are shy, kind of play games and know how to overcome that shyness. So that was a really good experience.
Did you walk in the community? Did you visit? How was the experience in the community?
So I went, one day a preceptor took me to Alemão, which is the largest favela in Rio de Janeiro. One of the most dangerous as well, but we were accompanied, so it was safe. And it was seeing favela from on top, from the teleférico. The second time when I went to favela that was most shocked, and that really changed my perspective, was going in a smaller favela called Santa Marta, where we went to visit patients who had tuberculosis. And I saw how cramped the quarters were in which they lived in. There could be 10 people under one roof. The sanitation was not that great. There were chicken running in the streets. So that's when I really saw the disparity of resources in Brazil in particular, but how they're starting to overcome it with a good healthcare system.
Yeah, and talk about the facilities, the premises, how you found it.
Sure. So I was expecting first, because I did another estágio in another Latin American country, which I won't name, and it was totally different because sanitation was not very good, the medicine was not very evidence-based, but here I was surprised to find that preceptors know most of the European or American, sometimes Canadian guidelines. People wash their hands before seeing patients, for example. People have a willingness to improve, to teach their residents as well. And there's an electronic medical record everywhere. So even in Canada, there's many clinics that are still using notes by hand. But here, everybody was using the computer, printing the prescriptions. So it was way more modern than I would have expected.
What would be an advice for foreigner students willing to come and visit us?
So I'd say you have to have an interest in, you have to like the city, but it's easy to really like Rio de Janeiro. It's amazing. You have to be a bit more down to earth, be willing to be humble and to realize that as medical students we're privileged, and a lot of patients we'll see don't have the privilege of having done the studies we could have done. And as for learning Portuguese, I find it's one of the best countries to learn a foreign language just because of how people are very welcoming. They say you're calorosos, so they try to teach you, to help you out. They're very accepting. So yeah, go for it.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.